Hello everyone, welcome back to the Budget Sportsman. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. And this video is going to be the 2024 budget rangefinder comparison video. Every year for the last number of years, I have been picking a few budget rangefinders to do a comparison video to find out which one is the best budget rangefinder. And each year we also include the previous year's winner to go up against the new contenders for that particular year. Now, for a number of years, I really struggled to find a good option for a budget rangefinder, and I kept falling back on my old and out of production Bushnell Chuck Adams edition rangefinder. However, last year we did come up with a really good option for a budget rangefinder, and it's my all-time favorite budget rangefinder, the Tidewe HR F700. Now, if you want to know why I enjoy this rangefinder so much, you can watch the 2023 comparison video, or you can watch my full review previously posted on my channel. But let's see if any of this year's rangefinders can take the place as my new favorite budget rangefinder. So let's take a look at the other three rangefinders on the table today, and we'll circle back and look at the HR F700 at the end. First up today is the Aquatel. This is the PF2E. Now the Aquatel has a range distance of 656 yards. It has a really good functioning and easy to read and understand angle compensation mode, which is incredibly important to me. In fact, I won't include a rangefinder without it. It has scan mode and it reads in 1/10 of a yard increments. All of the features that I like to see in a budget rangefinder. The build quality of the Aquatel, however, is where it feels like it's a little lacking. While the dimensions aren't much different than the Tidewe that I love, it's slightly thicker and just feels bulkier in my hands. The plastic feels very cheap and somewhat slippery. Now, something unique about this rangefinder is that it uses two AAA batteries to power the rangefinder. Now, while I appreciate the fact that AAAs are much more readily available than the CR123 batteries often used in the past, I would much prefer the rechargeable battery included in all of the other rangefinders on the table. I am a little bit concerned about the longevity of the battery life using the AAAs, and for me, it just falls short of having a rechargeable battery that I can charge at any time. Also, because of the fact that the plastic feels very cheap, I do have some concerns about how many times you're going to be able to open and take off the battery door without having a failure. Of course, only time will tell. The case on the Aquatel also feels extremely cheaply made. It's very thin material with a very thin belt strap on the back. It feels a little bit bulky when the rangefinder's inside, and unfortunately, it has a Velcro closure. Now, most of the time, I don't actually use a rangefinder case when I'm hunting, but there are situations where I do want to use it, and for me, this case would fall far short of being acceptable to be used in a hunting scenario. Now, there is one area where this Aquatel rangefinder has really proven itself to be a winner, and that is in fog. I was shooting my bow in the backyard on a foggy day, and my Tidewe rangefinder was having trouble giving me an accurate reading. A problem that has also been expressed by some of my viewers as well. The Aquatel, however, seemed to do a much better job of giving me accurate numbers even in those wet, foggy conditions. Now, because of the build quality concerns I have with the cheap feeling plastic on this rangefinder, it would be very easy for me to dismiss if it wasn't the cheapest rangefinder that I think I've ever tested. Currently it is $65 on Amazon, but at the time of recording, there's also a $20 off coupon. Just click the little check mark, and it's going to bring it down to $45. And I believe that's the cheapest rangefinder I've ever reviewed. And it has all the features that I look for in a budget rangefinder, like angle compensation, scan mode, and 1/10 of a yard increments. Next up is the Sigma CT800Y. This rangefinder has an 850-yard ranging distance, and it is very similar in function to the Aquatel. It has a good functioning and easy to read angle compensation mode, scan mode, and reads in 1/10 of a yard increments, but it also has several golfing modes. As someone who doesn't spend really any time on the golf course, the golf modes are just extra modes to cycle through, or clutter on the display, or get confused which mode you're on. However, if you are a hunter and a golfer, then this might be appealing to you. The Sigma has a much better feel and build quality than the Aquatel. The plastic pieces feel much more solid, and several parts of this rangefinder are actually rubberized, giving it a nice feel in the hand. It also has a built-in rechargeable battery that is charged with a USB-C cable. The case that's included with the Sigma is very bulky because it has a rigid design, but it does feel a better build quality. While the zippered closure would be very loud in a hunting situation, It also gives the option to have the zipper open and then simply use this bungee cord to keep the rangefinder securely in place. It also comes with this magnetic strap, and I haven't quite figured out the purpose of this strap, but I guess you're able to strap it around your rangefinder and then use the magnet to attach your rangefinder to something metal. I guess your golf cart perhaps, if you're going to use it that way. But in my opinion, this strap is just going to make your rangefinder feel bulky and interfere with the way it feels in your hand and even the button functionality. So for me, I'm really never going to use that. Currently, the Sigmund is $80 on Amazon, but at the time of recording, there's a 20% off coupon. Again, just check the little box, and it's going to bring it down to $64. This is, again, a very competitive rangefinder at a really impressive price. Next up on the list is a new contender from Tidewe, the Tidewe Mini. And I loved my old Tidewe so much that I thought it'd be worth seeing if their new version is actually better. Now, it does live up to its name. It is very small. And while it may be difficult to see the difference on camera, when you get it in your hands, you realize just how small it actually is. It doesn't look a lot smaller, but it feels much smaller in the hands. It has all the same features as its larger brother, the HRF700, including angle compensation, scan mode, 1/10 of a yard readout, but it does offer slightly longer ranging distances of 875 yards as opposed to the 700 yards on the bigger brother. The build quality on this little thing though is excellent. The rangefinder is actually made of aluminum rather than plastic, and it feels like it. It feels incredibly durable. It also includes a rechargeable battery that is charged with a USB-C cable. The case that comes with the Tidewe Mini is just a smaller version of the one that comes with the HRF700. It has a magnetic closure that I really enjoy using and keeps the rangefinder securely in place. I will say, however, that the magnets in this rangefinder case seem a little bit stronger than the other one, making it a little bit more difficult to close completely silently. If you just let it flop down, it's going to make a noise, but if you're careful about it, you can close it silently. Now, the rangefinder does fit in this case very snugly. There's no extra slop, and it feels like it's a really nice and compact package even when it's in its case. Now, there is one negative with this rangefinder in my opinion, and that is that it uses these square buttons rather than round, and they're put right next to each other with no major gap in between them. I had a lot of concern that maybe it'd be difficult to find the right button without being able to feel a big difference between them. Fortunately, I've not really found that to be a big issue. When I hold the rangefinder in my hands, my pointer finger just kind of ends up where the range button needs to be, and my middle finger ends up on the mode button, and I have not found it to be a big issue, but it's something that may take some getting used to. Now, as you know, I do have a coupon code for Tidewe's website. That coupon code is TBS18, and if you use that code, it will save you 18% off on your purchase on their website. At the time of recording, the Tidewe Mini is $90 on their website, and with the coupon code, it's going to bring it down to about $74. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that while you do get the coupon code on Tidewe's website, and while I do get a little kickback from that as well, and I appreciate that, it helps me out, you do want to go ahead and take your time to do some research, because sometimes you'll get a better price on Amazon. Even though my coupon code doesn't work on Amazon, sometimes the price can actually be less there, so go ahead and do your due diligence and your research there on where you're going to get the better price. And finally, that brings us back to last year's winner, the Tidewe HRF700. And this rangefinder still holds its own in my mind. The form factor and the feel on the hands is really good. The features are good. The rechargeable battery is good. The case is good. The price is good. I still love this rangefinder. Currently, at the time of recording, you can find this rangefinder for $70 on Amazon or for $60 on Tidewe's website after you use my coupon code TBS18. So what's the conclusion on the 2024 budget rangefinder comparison? Who is the winner? Well, to be honest with you, I think all of us as consumers are the winner. This is the first year where there was even a competition, where there was even more than one rangefinder to actually recommend. Because for years, I struggled to find a budget rangefinder with the features I was looking for that I could recommend. And this year, I think you could do really well with actually any of these options. But let me walk you through quickly one more time and tell you where each one shines and which one might be right for you. First, the Aquatel. To be honest, I really don't care for the way this rangefinder feels in my hands. It feels cheaply made and slippery material. But at the price of $45, it's really tough to hate this rangefinder. It actually functions pretty well and does what it's supposed to do. And if budget is your number one concern and that's it, then the Aquatel might be the right rangefinder for you. The Sigma definitely has much better build quality than the Aquatel, and it also includes the golfing modes. For a similar price to the Tidewe rangefinders, I personally would only really choose the Sigma if I really wanted to have the golfing and hunting modes all on one device. I will say that Tidewe does offer a similar unit that has those golfing and hunting modes on one unit. I just don't have it on the table here today. One thing to keep in mind is that the Sigma would have easily won many of the previous year's competitions before I found the Tidewe rangefinders that I really enjoy using. Certainly is a decent unit. The Tidewe Mini is fast becoming one of my personal favorite rangefinders. Now keep in mind that prices fluctuate, and normally I feel like this rangefinder is probably one of the highest priced of the group, but right now I'm seeing prices that are very competitive to the HRF 700. So an argument could be made that this Tidewe Mini should be made the king. I've used it most of the past hunting season, and since I often keep my rangefinder in my jacket or pants pocket, I've really enjoyed its tiny size. And don't forget, the aluminum construction all adds up to make this a very strong contender. For me, it really is a toss-up between the two Tidewe rangefinders. The Tidewe Mini definitely feels better in the pocket, takes up less space. However, the 700 does feel a little bit better in the hands. The Tidewe Mini can actually feel a little bit too small in the hands, especially if you have larger hands like mine. Now, at times, the price difference may be enough to make the dictating factor between which one of these that you want, but when the prices are very close to each other, it's really going to come down to, do you want aluminum and tiny fit in your pocket, or do you want something that feels really good in the hands? But both of them are going to function about the same. And really, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these rangefinders on the table today if you're on a budget. If this video helped you make an informed buying decision, I would really appreciate if you consider hitting the thumbs up button or the subscribe button, and I would love to hear from you in the comment section down below. Until next time, remember to get off YouTube and get outdoors into God's great creation.